Chapter 6 focuses on lifestyle changes, and I'm going to just summarize some of the numerical statistics that come out of meta-analyses. So again, reviews that are synthesizing results from many different studies, providing an estimate of global increase. Now, a lot of these studies come from high-income countries. We need to acknowledge that caveat there. I'm going to go through 10 specific lifestyle changes and provide a quick summary of these. One is sedentary behavior. Stay at home, right? You can go out maybe for an hour a day, maybe not. What did that do? It increased sedentary behavior. So 20 to 26%, depending, there's a couple of different meta-analyses on the subject, 20 to 26% decrease occurred in child physical activity in 2020. Now, studies also focus on the elderly, on adults, etc. A large reduction in physical activity. Sleep patterns were disturbed. So an estimated 41% of people experienced sleep disturbances and 17% experienced insomnia in 2020-2021. People increased their use of screens. One meta-analysis focused mostly on studies from the United States, but also elsewhere, found that there was a 52% increase in screen use among children in 2020 alone. And there's a number of studies suggesting that that increase of reliance on screens has continued in 2021. One consequence of that, and there's many, are actually increasing eye problems in young people. Lifestyle changes also occurred with people's diet. You actually see an improvement in some high-income countries, but a decline in access to nutritious food in many low-income countries. In general, you see an increase in food intake, ultra-processed foods, carbohydrates, and sweets. And you do see a reduction in vegetable and fruit consumption. But again, there's a lot of variation between countries and even between studies in these particular findings, also depending on the time period that the study was conducted in. Lifestyle change number 6, addiction. Meta-analyses show that we actually witnessed an increase in food, social media, and internet addictions during the pandemic. We did not see a population level increase in general in drug use. So that's alcohol, smoking, and recreational drugs. But we actually did see an increase among certain segments of the population. About 25% of people smoked more, they drank more alcohol, and they used more drugs. But then, and this comes from a number of meta-analyses and systematic reviews, about the same percentage decreased their use of alcohol, smoking, and drugs. We did see an increase in alcohol-related deaths where we have good statistics around this. So for example, there are studies showing a 25% increase in the US, a 20% increase in the UK, and a 5% increase in Germany of alcohol-related deaths in 2020. And of course, in the United States, you see an increase in opioid deaths and other drug and alcohol-related deaths. Unsurprisingly, the increase in sedentary behavior, the increase in consuming more food, more carbohydrates, led to an increase in obesity. So one meta-analysis actually estimates that impact and found that there was a 2% global increase in childhood obesity in 2020 and a 1% increase in adults. A US-based study actually found a 3% increase in obesity rates in 2020 in the United States. And there's quite a bit of evidence suggesting that this weight gain has been maintained past 2020 into 2021, 2022. There's also strong evidence to show that frailty in the elderly, so as much as we wanted to protect the elderly, confining them, indoors by themselves has repercussions. So we see an increase in frailty. Those are both seen across functional impairments, but also cognitive declines, including an increase in dementia, and that's been showed in about 2 or 3 different systematic reviews across multiple countries. There's no meta-analysis or review on personality changes, but there's a couple of fascinating studies out of the United States and Germany looking at personality traits and how that might have changed in 2020 and 2021. And these suggest a decline in extroversion, openness, agreeability, conscientiousness that's equivalent to 1 decade of normal personality change at a population level, including a reduction in maturity among young people. And the final lifestyle change that I want to discuss here, and please look at the report because I get into the sort of strengths and weaknesses of individual studies and discuss sort of ambiguities, etc., is child development. And so we do have a couple of good meta-analyses and systematic reviews on this topic, and they generally show that there were communication and personal social impairments that occurred among newborns born during the lockdown period or right before it, so at 12 months, evaluating cohorts before and during the pandemic. Some studies also suggest motor skill reductions and negative affect or temperament changes. It's unclear what these effects are going to be because we saw high rates of perinatal maternal stress and mental health deterioration among young families who are having young kids. And that is such a critical period in the development milestones of young infants. When they're first born, that connection between the parents and the child and the outside world. And it's unclear what lockdown and stay-at-home orders and these non-pharmaceutical interventions will have the long-term development of children born during that period of time. We also do not have comprehensive reviews on stunting and wasting, so this is the negative nutritional impacts, mostly in low and middle income countries, from a reduction in food security. There's quite a number of studies showing that rates of stunting and wasting did increase in some countries.
Hello, Kevin Bardosh here. Thank you for following the series to date. There are 4 more episodes left in this series, and if you like, you can read the full report anytime by clicking the link in the description below. In the next episode, Intimate Relationships, I'll be discussing the impacts of COVID policies on child abuse, family-based violence, family relationships, fertility, and sex. Please like and subscribe to this channel for regular updates from me and to be among the first to find out about the work we are doing here at Collateral Global.